National Gallery, London. One of the greatest art collections in the world. Over 2,300 paintings, covering more than 700 years of history. Free to enter. Open to everyone. We begin with Vincent van Gogh. Van Gogh. Sunflowers in Chair. Van Gogh as Sunflowers. Painted in 1888 in Arles, France. One of several versions. Thick paint. Heavy brushstrokes. Glowing yellows. Flowers in different stages of life. Some blooming. Some wilting. A symbol of friendship and hope. Created to decorate the room of Paul Gauguin, another artist who stayed with Van Gogh. Today, it is one of the most visited and photographed works in the gallery. Next to it, Van Gogh's chair. A simple wooden chair with straw seat. A pipe resting on it. Painted in 1888. It seems ordinary, but it feels like a portrait of the artist himself. Humble. Personal. Filled with his presence. Together, these works show Van Gogh's emotional intensity. His ability to turn simple objects into symbols of life. Medieval. Now back to the Middle Ages. The oldest works here date to the 13th and 14th centuries. Paintings created for devotion, not decoration. Golden altar pieces covered with leaf that once reflected candlelight in dark churches. One example, Duccio di Buoninsegna's Virgin and Child. Painted around 1300. Small, delicate, but glowing with sacred presence. The Madonna holds the infant Christ. Her eyes gentle. Her robe trimmed with gold. This was not art for display, but art for prayer. Placed in a private chapel. Medieval art was symbolic. Faces were not portraits, but representations of spiritual truth. Perspective was flat. Space compressed, but meaning was clear. These were windows to heaven. Renaissance. The Renaissance begins in the 15th century. Art becomes human, alive, filled with perspective and emotion. Sandro Botticelli's Venus and Mars. Painted in the 1480s. Venus, goddess of love, calm and watchful. Mars, god of war, asleep and powerless. Small satyrs play with his armor, stealing his spear, climbing into his helmet. A message that love conquers violence. Leonardo da Vinci's Virgin of the Rocks. Painted around 1483. One of two versions, the other in the Louvre. Figure set inside a rocky cave. Light soft and gradual. A technique called sfumato. Blending edges into shadow. The Virgin, Christ, John the Baptist, and an angel form a mysterious triangular composition. The setting is natural, but filled with symbolic plants and flowing water. Raphael's Madonna of the Pinks. Painted around 1506. The Virgin offers a pink flower to the child Christ, a symbol of love and sacrifice. Raphael's style is smooth, calm, balanced. His Madonnas are not distant icons, but gentle mothers, human and close. Titian's Bacchus and Ariadne. Painted in 1520. A myth from Ovid. Ariadne abandoned on an island by Theseus. Bacchus, god of wine, leaps from his chariot, falling in love at first sight. Around him, a wild procession of satyrs, nymph, and leopards pulling his cart. The sky is deep blue, figures twisting with movement. A dramatic celebration of passion and myth. Baroque. The Baroque era begins in the 17th century. Paintings grow larger, shadows deeper, gestures more dramatic. Caravaggo's Supper at Emmaus. Painted in 1601. A simple scene. Christ seated at a table with two disciples, revealing his identity after the resurrection. But Caravaggio makes it dramatic. A disciple throws his arms wide. Another leans forward. Shocked. A basket of fruit tips off the edge of the table, almost into our space. Caravaggio used ordinary people as models, making sacred stories feel real. His style of strong contrasts is called chiaroscuro. Peter Paul Rubens. Samson and Delilah. Painted around 1609. Samson, the biblical strongman, lies asleep in Delilah's lap. She looks away as a servant cuts his hair, stealing his power. Shadows and candlelight add tension. Rubens paints flesh, fabric, and stone with richness, creating theatrical drama. Rembrandt's self-portrait at the age of 63. painted in 1669. The year of his death. His face lined with age. His eyes steady. His presence commanding. Rembrandt painted over 80 self-portraits, almost like a diary of his life. This one shows dignity in the face of loss and hardship. Diego Velázquez's Roque Venus, painted around 1650. A reclining nude. Venus shown from behind, gazing into a mirror held by Cupid. The reflection blurred. Mysterious. Painted in Spain, where such works were rare. Elegant. Restrained. Timeless. British masters. Now to Britain. 18th and 19th centuries. J. M. W. Turner's Fighting Temeraire, painted in 1839. A warship, famous at the Battle of Trafalgar, towed by a steam tug to be broken up. Painted in ghostly white, fading into the sunset sky. On one side, the blazing sun sets. On the other, a pale moon rises. A painting of transition. Old giving way to new. Sails to steam. Turner's reign. Steam and speed. Painted in 1844. A train races across a bridge, blurred in mist and rain. The canvas filled with motion and atmosphere. Turner captured not just the landscape, but the feeling of modernity. John Constable's Hay Wain, painted in 1821. A rural scene. A cart pulled by horses across a shallow river. A cottage nearby. Fields stretching under a vast sky. Constable painted clouds with scientific precision and emotional depth. His landscapes feel alive with nature. Thomas Gainsborough's Mr. and Mrs. Andrews, painted in the 1750s. A young couple seated outdoors, their estate stretching behind them. The land as important as the figures. A portrait of wealth, but also of countryside pride. William Hogarth's Marriage à la Mode, painted in the 1740s. A series of works satirizing arranged marriages for money. Scenes of drunkenness, infidelity, and disease. A moral warning, told with wit and realism. Romanticism. Romanticism follows. Emotion, imagination, revolution. Eugene Delacroix. Swirling color. Dramatic scenes. Francisco Goya. Portraits filled with honesty, but also darkness and fear. His art reveals both brilliance and shadow. Turner again dominates here, capturing storms, seas, fire, and atmosphere. He is called the painter of light, but he was also the painter of energy, chaos, and vision. Post-Impressionists. Beyond Impressionism, artists push further. Georges Seurat's Bathers at Asnières, painted in 1884. A riverside outside Paris. Figure seated, resting, gazing across the water. Painted in pointillism. Thousands of tiny dots of pure color. From a distance, they blend into form and light. Seurat was scientific, using color theory to create harmony. Paul Gauguin's portrait of a woman in a red dress, painted in the 1890s during his time in Tahiti. Bold, flat areas of color, strong outlines, a new style influenced by non-European art. Gauguin sought a primitive purity, though his vision was often romanticized. Henry Rousseau's Surprised, a tiger in a stormy jungle, lightning flashing, rain pouring. Rousseau never traveled abroad. He painted this from books and imagination. His style is naive, yet powerful. His jungle scenes influenced Picasso and later surrealists. Cézanne's later Bathers, painted at the end of his life. Large figures, simplified into blocks of form. Trees arch above. Triangles of shape dominate. This is no longer impression, but construction. Cézanne bridges the 19th and 20th century. The last of the old, the father of the new. Final rooms. The final galleries mark the edge of history. The collection stops at 1900. No Picasso. No abstraction. No modernism. Here we end with Cézanne, Seurat, Van Gogh, Gauguin, Monet. The last years of the 19th century. After this, art explodes in new directions. Cubism, Expressionism, Surrealism. But the National Gallery chooses to end just before that leap. A pause before the modern age begins. Reflection. The National Gallery is more than a collection. It is a history of European painting from the 13th to the 19th century. Over 2,300 works, arranged chronologically. A story of 7 centuries told through paint. From the gold of medieval icons to the calm of Renaissance Madonnas. From the drama of Caravaggio to the fire of Turner. From the light of Monet to the passion of Van Gogh. Each gallery is a step in time. Each painting a window into another world. The museum is free. Open daily. A place for students, tourists, locals, families. It belongs to the public. It shows that art is not just for the elite, but for everyone. In London, in Trafalgar Square. It is part of the life of the city. Outro. Back outside. Trafalgar Square is alive. Red buses pass. Fountains sparkle. Pigeons fly. People gather on the steps. Behind them, the National Gallery stands, holding centuries of human creativity. This is the National Gallery. London. A place where art tells the story of us all. I am Nomad.